All right, so week four, a little bit better week. Still had a down. Excuse me. Not a bad day. I say bad. I mean, it was down 625 after commissions. I think it was a little over 770 or something like that. Again, when I get down, I tend to overtrade. Usually because I chase something or I didn't. I was too biased. Usually on the short direction, I like to short. So at any rate, I did turn the week around and had some solid days. I had 509 on the 10th, almost $1,000 on the 11th, and then another 800 on on Friday. Friday, and most of that turnaround has been paying attention to my share size. Trading between 2 and say 500 shares, and taking that 75% or so of my shares off once I hit at least a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1, and basically I base that off of if the stock is possibly turning around or bouncing. So obviously, and if it continues through that 2-to-1 ratio, I let it go as far as I can, and then if it's slows down or pulls back a little, I cover it. So that's helped me out a lot, and then I let the rest run. Sometimes though, if it gets a big pullback, but I'm still under my entry point, I will add to that and see where it goes from there, as long as it doesn't put me in a bad position. So that strategy has worked very well for me. Obviously, net profit, I guess, the net P&L is $2,787 since I started back on the 15th. So I've been a whole month now trading, and I'm up overall. Now with commissions and everything, I think I'm actually 15.8 is what my account's at. Let me double check. Let me put a pause here. So that's correct. I'm at 15,862 after commissions Friday. So up technically $1,862.11. So let's look at a few details. Again, a lot, 2,787 average of the gain, 146. Average winning trade 150, average loss 130. So this is starting to separate a bit, so that's good. Total number of trades 72 in the past month. I've increased my win percentage. I told you I wanted to get over 65%, so I'm getting there. I'm at 59. Largest gain $900, largest loss 1,086, and that profit factor is moving up, so that's good. So Monday and Tuesday have been bad days for me, so I need to watch that coming back. So this Monday we have a holiday, Martin Luther King holiday, for federal holiday, so there's no trading for us. And then so Tuesday I work, but I'll be able to trade. Wednesday I'm off, I'll be able to trade all day. Thursday, Friday, I work as well, but I'll be able to trade a little bit in the morning. Performance by hour, I don't look at this too much. I don't read too much into it. Maybe I should, but right now it's just about really this information up here. Working on want to see this over 2, and I want to see this over 65% or over 60% at least. That way I can continue to make improvements. This just shows the distribution of price. So in other words, where I made the most gain per share. Is it per share? So this is the number, I guess, that the trades I've taken at the price of the stocks that the equities I've been trading. I don't pay attention to this. I mean, I guess I could. Stocks that are between $20 and $50. So I'll start concentrating next week and see if that makes a difference. Things over $50, I lose more money. I win most of my money between 19. It looks like between $5 and $10. So maybe I'll pay attention to that a little bit more. See if it provides a little bit better profit margins. Performance by thread. I'm thread trade. I'm tired. What I've made the least on, what I've lost the most on. what I made the most on. Leads was an interesting trade. I actually got stuck in the trade. I was trying to cover. I was up a little bit on the trade, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a short into the close and then just cover before the close happened. And actually, I want to look that trade up. Let's go to Journal View. So long story short, when I went to cover, it didn't execute. It said it took the trade, but it didn't execute. And I wound up getting a good win on this day, but it started actually here. Let's see, details. So on the 10th, you can see here. So, I traded there. So I shorted here right before the close, and I thought it would break down. I was looking for 30 cents maybe, but it stayed strong, and people covering popped the stock up. So I was actually down in this position, but when I covered, it was like a few seconds before the close, and I guess it took too long to execute, and it timed out. So I was in a little bit of a panic, and fortunately, though, I saw after hours where it dropped, and the next day it opened down here. I covered, that first candle, that 5-minute candle here. I was going to see if it was going to go any further. It bounced up. As soon as it started to break this top of this red candle, I said, I'm going to go ahead and cover everything else. And it was a good trade for me. A little scary, and I don't want to do that again, so I kind of put a rule in that I cover all trades before 3:55. So I don't do that anymore, unless I intend to hold the trade overnight. Let's see. I'm going to go back to leads here. I swear I had it. Here it is right here. So this is the first trade I took. I shorted so I shorted right here. It was about 130. It was breaking down. It was pulling back up. I just covered. I think I made a little bit on it, not a lot. This thing had a, on the daily, it just pops up and fades, pops up and fades. So I thought it was going to do the same thing and keep going, but it kind of popped up or popped up, pulled back, and then was trying to pop up again and failed. But anyway, that was a good trade for me. As far as my thought process, I got out of it. I didn't lose a ton of money, didn't make a ton of money either on that particular trade, but the big thing is I didn't lose a ton. What other good trade did I have? Kodak was good. So I traded this in and out a bunch of times, as you can see. Let's look at the 15. Let's look at the 5-minute here. I shorted. I covered. I wasn't in the right position, but I wound up making good money. I mean, I added, shorted, covered, shorted, covered, just a bunch of times in here. Long story short, made money, and that's the important thing. Made $331 on that particular trade. Another good trade that was just solid. It was Friday's trade. Where's it at? 400. There it is. Watt. This is one of my favorite trades, I think. Come down. Let's see. Why won't that move? Yeah, so I made 425 on Watt, 391 on XNet. Kodak another 330. I made good money on XNet and Kodak. Why? Oh, details. That's why. Sorry, I'm trying to get that to pop up. So this is where I was talking about the other day on week 3 review that I lost 180. So I shorted here, which is not a bad idea. It looked a little bit different on the 1 minute chart, but we'll look at that later. It pulls down. I think I took a small position. I take 200 shares. Then I added 100 shares, thinking it was going to continue to break down. As soon as it broke over this red candle here, I should have covered. And I intended to cover. For some reason, I didn't. And of course, there I am covering at top, ticking it and covering. I saw that it was failing again, so I added my 300 back, getting a better average. And then this I covered here and covered here. And then when I saw it failing again, I added back, added again when it broke down. And then at this point, I actually went to work. I did put a stop loss in, so I was much more comfortable. I was also comfortable doing it because I was up. I wasn't up a lot. I was up maybe $50 or $60 total. I won back what I had lost in the morning. And then my thought process was, as long as I don't lose any money on the trade, so I put, I believe I put a stop loss back at my average price, actually 10 cents lower, so I would have made a little bit of money on it, and let it run. So when I get to work, and check everything out, it's now in here, and I'm like, holy cow, I forgot my laptop. So fortunately, one of the guys at work lives close by. He grabbed his laptop, but in that time span, it was down to here. Yeah, so I was up probably $1,100, I guess, maybe close to 11. It was over $1,000. I was up unrealized gains at this point here. If you do the math, it started pulling back, and I got the laptop back. I was able to cover, and I covered. I was just going to let it run as far as I could let it run, and then I covered obviously right here, hoping it would pull back to this level, but it never did. Good trade though, and I'm happy because I don't use mechanical stops. But if I'm gonna, that one time I got away with it, I'm not gonna do that again. That was really reckless. I also had I traded one of the IPOs that day and did the same thing. It was kind of tightening the range, and I felt comfortable with it. This ILPT, and let me pull it back here. I traded LB, whatever that other one was too. So here's the, it's the day. I went long here. It was a bad spot to go long. I thought it was going to break. I was playing the break of this candle. I went long, and it pulls back, and it just stays here. I put a stop in at like 63, somewhere down here. And it, I just let it run. I just let the stop go because maybe it was going to bounce. I don't know. Being an IPO, you never know. I didn't lose a ton of money on it, and I won on the other IPO. So, and I was up big on my other trade. So on, I think it was Watt that we just discussed. So it was not a big deal. It was just a roll of the dice. I knew I wouldn't lose a lot of money. I had to stop in, so no big deal. And I would do the same trade over again. Except if I had the laptop, I probably would have readjusted my stop up a little bit to this level here. But other than that, I'm okay with that trade. So, but at any rate, this is a really long-winded trade review for the week. I'm gonna try to get some of the live video out if I can. If not, I'm gonna try to start up next week. I've had trouble with my recorder as well as uploading videos to YouTube. So, y'all guys have a great week. Hope you're all green. I hope to stay green and continue to do so. Later.